Homeland Security has had to clarify what the president said about the ban on travel to Europe.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Don, the president appears to have left out the fine print in that speech tonight when it was the first thing essentially out of his mouth, talking about these restrictions here and how they were going to bar all travelers coming in from Europe for the next 30 days. Now we're getting a statement from the Department of Homeland Security and the acting secretary clarifying that. And I want to read a little bit of this to you, John, because it's important and it's really notable in light of what the president just said, which seemed like this pretty stark restriction that he was putting down. But now DHS says that what he announced suspends the entry of most foreign nationals who have been in certain European countries at any point during the 14 days prior to their scheduled arrival to the United States. They then go on to list the countries, and Don, this is probably the most important line. It says, this does not apply to legal permanent residents, generally immediate family members of U.S. citizens, and other individuals who are identified in the proclamation. So the president made it seem like no travelers were going to be allowed back to the United States coming from Europe, with the exception of the United Kingdom for the next 30 days, starting effective at midnight on Friday. But when you read this statement from DHS, it really allows a lot of leeway there, Don. So there are going to be a lot of questions for the White House coming out of that, because that was one of the biggest restrictions we saw in the president's announcement tonight.
All right, Caitlin, stand by. We may have some more questions for you, but I want to bring in now our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Doctor, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you've been a very busy man. Life is changing in America right now. A tremendous amount of change in our society.
We just a week ago we were told that there would be 15 cases and it would go to 0, and now you're hearing about all these types of what they call non-pharmaceutical interventions, these social distancing mechanisms that we thought were really things that we would see in other countries, but not here in the United States. It's changing rapidly here. And I think the public health community has been predicting this for some time. We haven't probably heard from them as much as we would have liked, I think, over the last couple of days. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci has been, I think, a little bit more clear with the language in saying that, look, no matter where you live, you have 1 case there now, 0 cases, it doesn't matter. This is coming. So I think there's been a distinct phase shift, and you're seeing all the different mechanisms that are sort of catching up with that.
Listen, doctor, I think that your tone and tenor, you've been perfect, pitch perfect on this. And even when you on the air, I think it was yesterday or the day before, when you said we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. I mean, the World Health Organization came out today and said this is a pandemic. You weren't surprised by that. It is a big deal. But I think if folks have been following your reporting on this, you have been right on about this. And maybe it's not a time to be critical, maybe it is. But we have not been getting 100% accurate information from the administration. I think the vice president has been doing his damnedest to do a good job about it, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, and it's surprising a little bit, because I think there's some incredibly talented people in the public health department, people who've been through similar things, although I will say this is unusual, this pandemic that we're going through now, for lots of different reasons which we can talk about. But there have been people who have been sounding the alarm on this for some time, and I've been talking to my sources, many of them off the record for some time, who've been very, very worried about this. And let me just be more specific here. Look at what's happening in Italy right now. There's a virus, we know this, we know some idea of how lethal it is, but what's more concerning right now in Italy is the tax on the hospital system now. Right. They don't have the resources to take care of people. We could run into that same situation here, Don. We may be 100,000 ICU beds short, we may be tens of thousands of breathing machine ventilators short. Can you imagine, Don, the decisions that might have to be made in hospitals? We could save both these patients, but we don't have the resources to take care of both of them. I mean, this is what we should have been preparing for the last 6 weeks.
And you're right, we are going to talk more. We're going to have more breaking news here, massive breaking news in the sports world. I'll tell you about. Carolyn Manno joins us now. Frank Bruni is here as well. Carolyn, first, fill us in on what's happening in the sports world.
Just breaking right now, the NBA has suspended its season, which is a decision that many people maybe saw coming, with the way that the tip of the iceberg started with the Warriors earlier today and has trickled down to really envelop the entire sports world. The sentiment right now within the league is that they don't know what's going to happen from here. They don't know if or when the season is going to be able to start again. The playoffs are supposed to begin in the middle of April, the finals are in June, and everybody making decisions at the very top is scrambling to figure out what the right decision is. And the thing about athletes is, and this applies to the big news of the NCAA as well, is that when players are in such close physical contact, sharing bodily fluids when they're traveling, when their immune systems are broken down, they're tired. And so a lot of times, not just in basketball, but across the entire sports landscape, when one athlete gets sick, so many others get sick. You see it sweep through tournaments and big events, and that's because they're susceptible to illness. And so the fact that Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, has now been preliminarily diagnosed with this is an indication to the league that ultimately forced their hand and said, you know what, no, we need to stop down and figure out what we're doing here. And quite frankly, there's no timetable right now for when it's going to pick back up.
You have this NBA superstar, Dr. Gupta. Now you have Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson now testing positive for the virus down in Australia, filming a movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's important when anyone gets this virus, but when you start to see, you know, these sort of superstars, people pay attention. They say, well, anybody can be affected.
I think it's been really interesting, sort of, you know, just being out there talking to people. There is a group of